Hello guys, it's Amber and welcome back to another video. This video is going to be a little bit different from my usual building content, and I actually wanted to give some beginner friendly tips, especially to newer players who are just coming into the game in time for the 6.0 update. And even if you're not a newer player, I'm sure there's one or two things that you can take from this video and start doing on your own Genshin account. I've been playing the game a while and I've made every single mistake that you could possibly make. In fact, I do still continue to make a few. But let's waste no more time and get straight into the video. The first tip, which is actually more of an honourable mention, is just to gain an understanding of gacha and live service games. Genshin is more or less a resource management game, so anything free just take full advantage of. And it's also a live service game. So what this means is that there are still updates actively coming out for Genshin. And Genshin's the kind of game that wants to encourage you to log in every single day. This is really obvious through the resin caps and daily commissions. So really you should be logging into Genshin every single day. Obviously that's ideal, but you absolutely don't have to log in every single day to see progress. You do just miss out on a lot of free resources, and where it's a gacha game, there aren't many of those. But absolutely gain an understanding of live service and gacha games to really know whether it's for you. It's really easy to start playing a game that looks like you're really going to enjoy, but then you find out it heavily relies on live service and gacha, and that just might not suit your lifestyle. Especially if you're the kind of player that likes to see progress almost straight away. There's honestly only so much progress you can make in one day on Genshin because of the time caps. That brings me on nicely to my second honourable mention. Don't brain rot play every day for 12 hours a day for the first 2 weeks. So many players do this, but you will burn out. Now for the first and one of the most important tips. Spend some time learning the main combat system of this game, which is none other than elemental reactions. Each character has an element, and each of these elements interact differently. This is what an elemental reaction is. There are so many good videos that go into deep detail about elemental reactions. The best ones, the worst ones, the ones that most players use, and the best ones for the current content in the game. I can even make a video about this if enough people feel like they need it. The next tip, and another super important one, is to plan your teams. This tip is especially important if you want to clear the abyss as quick as possible. But normally early game, you want to pick one or two main DPSs that you really enjoy. For example, I might choose Malvika and Chaska, and then pick 3 more characters that are generally good for that main DPS. You can also do this when you are free to play an early game. Most guides on websites will have a specific tab all for the free to play team options, and then do the same thing for your second team. But not everybody cares about clearing the abyss, but if you do, follow this method: 1 main DPS and then 3 good supports for that character. The next tip is all about staying organized. This is an in-game planner that's actually designed to help you build your characters. As you can see, you can go down to almost any character. For example, I might want to build Auroron for my Chaska team. I can switch on the level up plan, and here it will give me all of the materials that I need to hit my goal. You can also change these goals depending, because obviously not every character wants to be leveled up to 90. Especially if you're early game, your goals are probably going to be closer to around the 50 to 60 mark. It also shows you recommended weapons based on what other players are using. So for example, a lot of people are using elegy for the end, so I might equip that onto my Auroron. It also shows you information about their artifacts and their character talent level up materials. You can also set these differently depending on your goals. If you are also out collecting something like this, for example a chaos core, when the plan is active, it'll actually give you a notification when you've reached the required amount. It's honestly super helpful. It stops you having to check every single 2 seconds to see if you have enough of something. However, on the topic of being organized, you might go for something a bit more extreme, like a planner. As you can see, I use Notion. I just organize all of my plans for the week. I actually recently updated it, so it's a lot nicer than it used to be, and it's much more organized. But as you can see here, I have my dailies, my weeklies, my eventuallys, my longer term goals, which right now is just building characters, my exploration, and I just keep track of my really important resources here as well. And once you are at the point of doing endgame content, you can keep track of that too. I have wish lists, all of my teams, the bench, and all my currently active characters that I am playing. I even have pages for the characters that I'm currently building, just with some information like areas to improve and my goals. I also have a day-to-day schedule, but I don't think this is necessary for most new players. But if you are a super organized person, something like a Notion planner can be great for you. It makes the game feel way less overwhelming if you're being organized. If you combine both the training guides and a planner like a Notion, you're going to have a much easier time than someone using no organization tactics. Don't underestimate being organized. The next tip is to consider staying on top of exploration. When you start the game, you start over here in Mondstadt, and I personally would explore each region as of when you get it. Exploring can become so overwhelming because our map is so huge now. And trust me, I let it build up and I've had to go back and 100% all of this using the interactive map. If you do it as you go, it's not nearly as intimidating and it's so rewarding. You can't play this game without exploring because your account is automatically going to be bottlenecked, especially in comparison to an account like mine that's been explored everywhere. I have gotten every single last primo gem out of my world. It's not even just primo gems and in-game currency that you can get from exploring. It's also enhancement ores, which are essential for leveling up your weapons, artifact and artifact XP, character level up books, and even some talent level up books in some newer regions. You can get recipes and sigils, which can be turned into monuments and exchanged for even more rewards. Explore and explore as you go to make it easier. Let me just have a second to flex my map. Oh yeah, I love exploring. The next tip, similar to exploring, is to try and clear your quests and battle pass missions consistently. Similar to exploring, these can really build up and become super overwhelming, but they are super rewarding. Definitely stay up to date with the Archon quests, but regularly try and comb through your world for world quests. I do most of them, that's why my quest menu is quite far and few between. I also do all the story quests and all the hangouts, and I've done all the tribal chronicles. So I do all quests, but at least keep up with your Archon quests. The battle pass is also an example of free resources and rewards that we should take advantage of. Like I said, Genshin don't give many of these, so you should take full advantage of it. I pay for the Gnostic Hymn, but you don't need to do this. You can just do the standard battle pass, and it still gives you a bunch of valuable rewards depending on what you choose. You can get artifact XP, enhancement ores, character level up materials, Mora. You can get fragiles, fates, and other super useful rewards. You should stay up to date with your battle pass missions. These refresh weekly. These ones are during the battle pass period. So it includes things normally like beating some in-game content, making wishes, and enhancing artifacts. Try and regularly complete these. I complete these on a weekly basis and they're part of my weekly farming routine. And of course, daily missions I do every single day. I have reached the max level though, so I'm not doing them currently. But the point is just to take advantage of anything that's free. The next tip, and again I made this mistake, is to take full advantage of reputation in the different regions. Reputation can give you a bunch of really useful gadgets. This includes the crystal fly trap, which you get from Fontaine Reputation, all of the treasure compasses, which can make exploring much easier, and these renaissance stones, which allow you to see where your missing oculus are to level up your statues. Also very early game you can get this NRE, which is super helpful. I actually still use this even late game because sometimes it's easier to just heal with food instead of going to a statue. Or if you're in your weeklies, you can still use this even when fighting your weekly bosses. So if they do hit you for a lot or almost kill you, you can quickly heal up or revive your characters. My advice is to completely abuse reputation. Get all of the gadgets and the compasses that you can. Even endgame players abuse these. These will never lose their value. When you're early game, you'll notice a lot of stuff like this which is sparkling. make sure to pick up everything that sparkles. Yourself later will thank you. It means that you end up stockpiling a lot of characters' essential materials. All characters need a local speciality essential material, and hopefully whilst you're wandering around Mondstadt and Liyue, you can collect plenty of these for your Mondstadt and Liyue characters. It also means that if you ever want to cook, you're going to have plenty of ingredients. I recently went through and cooked all my recipes to max proficiency, and to say that I saved myself a ridiculous amount of time would be an understatement. I'd farmed so much meat and so many other materials that I ended up just not needing to farm them when I eventually came to make the recipes. There are so many benefits to just picking up everything that sparkles. Now another super important tip. This is one that I think late game players see all too often in newer players, is that they're using their fragiles before AR45. Do not use your fragile resin until you are AR45. This is because when you're AR45, you're guaranteed at least one gold drop from artifact domains. There is no point using your fragile resin in an artifact domain until you have this guarantee. You don't really need 4-piece artifact sets anyway until you're a little bit later game. You'll be able to just get on fine with whatever sets you kind of have in your backpack. Don't use these or your late game self will curse you for the amount of fragile resin that you wasted. Fragile resin assimilates time. By the time you're AR45, you should have collected about 60 to 70 at least fragile resin. That can assimilate up to a month of time. Please don't waste these, and please at least don't waste them on artifact domains. A lot of people use them on things like Mora and XP books to stockpile them later on, but again, I think that's a mistake when you're early game. You can get so much Mora and XP books by just exploring, which is free. You don't need resin for that. Save your fragiles. I can't drill this into new players enough. Until you're AR45 though, try to use your daily refresh resin for things that you're guaranteed. Use it for things like character ascensions, weapons and talents, or other guaranteed upgrades. Things like talents, your weapon and your level are guaranteed upgrades. You could do 30 runs of one domain and not even get a single piece of crit on it. Even Mora or XP would probably be a better use of your day-to-day resin. But use your fragiles for artifact grinding later on. Abuse this. The next tip is all about Genshin economy. There are two kinds of banners. We have the limited banners and then the standard banner. The standard banner does not go away. This is going to be here forever. And these characters you also have an opportunity to get on the limited banners. If you lose your 50-50, you could get a character on this banner. Never ever spend primos on this banner. More people do this than probably want to admit. I know I did when I was at the game. But Genshin give you loads of these fates for free by just playing the game, completing quests and leveling up. Even the battle pass gives you these wishes. Save your primos for the limited characters that you want. Genshin don't give you nearly as many primos or nearly as many intertwined fates. Don't spend money on this banner. Don't do it. I know it can be tempting, especially if you know that you're close to pity, but don't do it. It's never going to be worth it, and then you're going to be 10 more wishes off of getting the character that you want. I don't care how much you like Chi-Chi, Keqing or Mona. When you've been playing the game for 4 years and have them both, all of them C30, you won't like them as much anymore. Trust me, I used to like Keqing. I can't stand her anymore. I'm sorry, I always get a bit heated when I'm talking about my standard character constellations, because where I've whaled on quite a few characters, I have quite a few of them. But it's so important to understand the gacha kind of economy on this game. So again, if you would like a more in-depth video into that, I can provide one. But there are so many videos out there explaining the gacha system on this game in really deep detail. So I 10 out of 10, 1,000 times recommend that you look into this. It ties back to my earlier point about understanding the game that you're playing. It might save you a lot of money, a lot of wishes, and get you a couple more characters. The last tip, of course, is to do your dailies every single day. I'm skipping them here because I have so many encounter points, but you should be doing them also. Also remember to set your characters on the longest expeditions for whatever things you need. I recommend doing it for things like meat and ores. They're both quite annoying to farm. And remember to use the characters with extra item bonuses rather than short on time. And then I personally use a friendship team to claim all of my daily commissions, but if you're early game you probably won't need to do this. This is a team of characters that I am farming for their banners, so like their decorative profile banners. When you're early game, cosmetics like that are the least of your worries, but if you are late game, I would recommend focusing on it. Thank you so much for staying till the end of this video. I hope that regardless of whether you have new player status or veteran player status, you found at least something in this video useful. Genshin is a big game and is so intimidating when you're brand new, but trust me, it's so worth it. The story's great, the player base is great, and the characters are amazing. And with this information under your belt, you're bound to have a better start than probably most new players. Everybody who is a late game player, feel free to leave some more tips in the comments. I'd love to hear your guys' suggestions, and I'm sure the newer players would appreciate it. But there you go, that's 2 honourable mentions and 10 super useful beginner tips. Things that I wish I knew when I started to play the game. Thank you again so much for watching, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon or evening wherever you are.